All right, well, thanks for coming. So this is our session is The Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. I'm Alex Karklins. Sitting next to me is Connor Ford. I'm the academic services senior professional. That's a mouthful. Here at CU Online, and Connor Ford is a developer who works for Research Special Services in OIT, and so far we are the Wolf team here at CU Online. So. Thank you. Yes, it gives us our power. That's why we have the 3 Wolf Moon shirts. It's very essential. Connor has his on whenever he's writing code. So always. I just have it here for special events. So I guess like kind of the dynamic here is kind of like a Penn and Teller thing. I stand up and do all the talking while Connor is mostly quiet and does all the actual magic tricks with the Wolf project. So. This is kind of a project that has been in process for a long time. I kind of stepped into it when I started here back in late July. Connor didn't start here until the beginning of September, so this is the first semester that we've been really implementing the Wolf as a project. So the inspiration, though, for the Wolf went back to David Thomas, David Lyons, who used to work here as well, was Winston Wolfe. And if any of you have seen the movie Pulp Fiction, there's a character in there called Winston Wolfe. He's a guy who goes through and solves really sticky problems very, very quickly. Like in the example here, it has to deal with hiding a dead body that some incompetent hitmen have made a big mess out of. And he gets it all cleaned up before breakfast. So that's kind of like the principle. We want a guy who comes in and solves problems really, really quickly, except we're not hiding dead bodies, hopefully. The Wolf itself, as it is at CU Online, is a very interesting project. We've basically taken the inspiration from Winston Wolfe, and what it is this is the kind of the technical description. It's a collaborative effort between CU Online and RSS to develop a suite of web applications kind of based loosely on the microservices model of software architecture. So what does that mean in English? It means that right now we can quickly create single-purpose apps that work with Canvas to gather data or add functionality to Canvas. The key here is quickly. These are a small-scale, single-purpose apps, basically one-page web applications where you go in and query information. It brings back the information that you need, and they're developed quickly. It's not taking forever to like go through the traditional IT process of project management, where you go through and the whole process takes like 6 months to develop, or a year and a half. These are, lightweight programs that basically solve a problem. Like, let's say, okay, it wouldn't be great if I could do this, and within like a month, have an app developed. Why should you care about this process? Well, the purpose of this presentation is really to kind of expose you, faculty, to this, because we want to start building apps for you. If there's something that you find missing on Canvas, or there's information that you want to grab from Canvas, something that will make your life easier, we want to build apps for you. So far, we've just been building apps kind of for ourselves or for administrators or that kind of thing, some sort of background things, but we want to start making the Wolf project available to faculty. So we can do things like add features in Canvas. That was one of our first apps that was developed. We can also streamline some administrative tasks, like we've created I'll show you in a little bit. But basically, we want to find ways to make your life, your job, easier. We can do that directly through functionality in Canvas, or things that work directly with your courses, or on the back end administratively, so that you're not getting bugged by requests for, let's say, well, we'll see. I'll show you what's going on with that. So yeah, let's see some examples. One of the first ones we did. This is something that extends functionality in Canvas and this is something that was kind of on the wish list before I even started here, was a sandbox generator. So within your Canvas profile, you have a box there that lets you create a sandbox course, meaning just a course that's an empty course shell that you can use to practice with. You can build out things and just and it's not tied to any of your real courses. So all you need to do is go into your profile, click on Create Sandbox, and it generates the course. It names the course with our sandbox naming convention, usually like with your name in there, and it enrolls you as the instructor, all with just one click. Before, sandbox requests were handled by our help desk, where that was a more manual process. It was a little more tedious. They had to go in, they had to create the course shell, name the course shell, go find you, enroll you in it, make sure that it was in the correct sub account in Canvas. Here you can just do it yourself, and you can create as many of them as you want. And it's just with one click. So, and it's also useful for us too when we're doing, for example, Canvas trainings like we did yesterday. One of the first things that the instructors who were taking that workshop did was go in and create a sandbox that they could follow along with the process. So that's one of them. And here are a couple others. I'm going to step out of the presentation here and actually show you what we have. So, for example, this app right here is, you can see how simple it is. It's just one form, very lightweight. But this is something that's kind of an administrative tool where, let's say, for accreditation purposes, you need to collect syllabi from Canvas courses. You can go through and basically you get authenticated into this app via Canvas. I'll kind of go over how that's created as well. But so this isn't like a public-facing thing or anything. You have to kind of authenticate into it. But if, let's say, you want to go into the anthropology department and grab the syllabi from last fall, it'll populate I'll say, okay, it's wanting to authorize me. I have authorization, so I can get in. And let's see, and it brings up a view of all of the courses in Canvas. I believe it's all the published courses, correct?
Right.
All the published courses. And it gives you a preview of the syllabus, and then you can go and export those syllabi in HTML format. And what it does is that if you choose to export them, it sends a zip file to your email address. And for example, I've got it here in my mail. There's a zip file, and it has basically several HTML files in there. So if you've used the syllabus tool in your Canvas course and it builds it out, you have there's a copy of that. And so it's good from an administrative, like, accreditation standpoint to go and query those courses and pull the syllabi without giving access to everything in your Canvas course.
Now, who has access to that?
Right now, it's probably just...
Yeah, currently it's based on your roles in Canvas. So for each app, we set like which Canvas roles are allowed to access
It's
that
not
app.
publicly available.
It's
No.
not publicly.
No, you have to authenticate via your role, and it checks and see what role you have in Canvas.
So what role do you need to have access?
So the syllabus one?
Currently, it's just account admins.
Yeah. So it's like kind of top level right now.
That's flexible. I mean, we can change that whenever,
Mhm.
add and remove.
Yeah. Right now we're kind of it's kind of locked down. We haven't really actually used it in practice yet. We have it, but I don't think anyone's actually used it in the wild yet.
If I could just chime in real quick.
Yeah.
What's important about using the Canvas authentication is that
Mhm.
none of these apps expose any data that would ordinarily be associated with that role.
Right.
So it automates something that if you were an account admin, you could go through and do this one course at a time. But if you didn't have access to that syllabus, this isn't a backdoor.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. We're very careful with as far as like how we want to provision some of these. But I'm just kind of showing you. So I'm not going into any of these syllabi and and showing them to all of you right there. I'm just showing you that the tool is available. One of my favorite apps right here is is something that generates a list of email addresses of online or hybrid students. All right, this was a task that I got when I first started. Kate Miller here likes to send out emails to students in online or hybrid courses that have not yet logged into their class. So for me to do that, I had to run a report in Canvas that basically showed 0 activity for students. And they have that in there. But there was not a way to filter it as far as like an online or hybrid course. So I had to go into the spreadsheet, remove all those courses that, or grab the courses that actually had an online or hybrid designation in the title. All right, then go in to each of those individual student accounts and find the email address and then put that in a spreadsheet. That took several hours to do that. This is something where you can basically run this query here. It generates a report and gives me those email addresses to, or actually, Kate can even access this as well. But you can go and run this app, and it's current. The problem with the other version too is that it would be several hours old. So a student who had logged in, say that day, was getting an email saying, "Oh, we noticed you haven't logged into your course in Canvas yet. Do this." And they're like, "Well, of course I have." And then, of course they did, because the report was several hours old by that point.
So how do you access this now?
It's through the the URL here. This is basically just for every course in there. So this is not scaled down to like the the individual course level, because as an instructor you can go into your Canvas course and you can see how many see what the participation is on your course level. But this is like a big one for all of the online or hybrid students at CU Denver. Does that make sense? So this is like a big kind of administrative thing that and it's saving, but it basically saves a bunch of time because you run the report, and a few minutes later you get a list, an Excel sheet with all those with just those email addresses, because that's all you need, and you can send out the reminder email.
So Kate, this is interesting to me. So you guys do email students that haven't logged in?
Mm-hmm. And so that saves you from having to do that as well, and it's kind of something that we've been doing for how long, Kate? I mean,
several semesters.
Yeah.
Part of the early alert system, but we can take it upon ourselves to reach out to our online students to let them know just because it's an online course, you still need to log on, and just to kind of prompt them. So we've been doing it for several years, but trying to fine tune it even more.
Yep.
You get like 60, 70 students return.
Roughly.
Mhm.
When do you send that email? So it goes out after the first week of classes, so that Friday, and then just before census as well. So if they wanted to drop this course, they have an opportunity to do so before they get all the fines and penalties.
One more thing that was just kind of it's an interesting tool for us as far as like the help desk and for the registrar. It's mostly an administrative thing, but this was the very first Wolf app that was developed, and you've deployed this about, say, like a week maybe after you started,
Yeah.
right? So a week after, and this was just kind of a way to test, to test how this would actually work. But this is just a query that shows all the users with administrative access in the various sub-accounts within Canvas. Because in Canvas, we have our top-level account, and then we have sub-accounts by academic unit. And we have certain people in there who have, let's say, enrollment manager access. Those would be course coordinators. And this just keeps a current list of who is in that role, and it loads any of the contact activity or contact and recent activity for each of those users. So we can keep a current list of those people who have admin type of access to it, so we don't let it get too big. We can send this to the registrar and say, okay, are these people still still require this access because we don't want to have a lot of administrative access type users in Canvas. We want to keep a handle on that. Let me jump back in here. And currently, another project that we're working on is a CU Denver and Metro State. The physics departments in both of them have had a kind of a long-standing agreement that they share courses. This kind of predates a whole lot of things like online tools like the LMS or even sophisticated student information systems. It's kind of almost like a handshake agreement that took place a long time ago. Problem is, if a CU Denver instructor wants to use Canvas, it doesn't have those Metro students provision in there because they're not in the student information system. And the process of doing that was something that was very, if an instructor, a CU Denver instructor had Metro students in his physics course, his or her physics course, we'd have to create user accounts for all of those students, add them to the courses and all that kind of stuff. It was a very long process because we have up to about 1,000 students each semester that would fall under that designation, or 1,000 enrollments anyway. I don't know if it's individual students. So we said, okay, let's bring in the wolf and solve this issue. And so we're working with our registrar, with Metro's registrar, and with the instructors there to gather this information so that before the semester starts, we can easily provision those users and enroll them in the correct courses. And this involves translating the data, like the course listing on Metro is somewhat different than the course listing at CU Denver. So the wolf will translate that, provision those users, enroll them in the correct courses, and once they've been enrolled in there, they should be they'll be notified of the account and they'll be able to log in to Canvas. So we're kind of retroactively helping this handshake agreement work. So.
So it's not a handshake agreement, but a real agreement.
It is. It's. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
for
right.
instance, the integrated pathway between CU and CCA, CCD, Red Rocks, to do the dual enrollment program. Do we have to do something?
I'm not sure if that's actually that might be provisioned through the registrar.
It may come through the registrar's office.
Yeah.
These physics classes are some ancient old class thing that doesn't exist in ISIS.
Right.
So it's like, oh, just show up to this
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Which probably worked fine when everything was on paper, but now it's like they don't have access to the LMS, the professor's posting stuff, they're using clickers, so.
Yeah. This is just a way to kind of almost like formalize that that agreement that predates. I don't know how long it's been. Probably about, I think they said about like 15 years ago that they started doing this, or even longer. And they're saying, the physics faculty are saying, well, I'd love it for it to be just automatic. It's like, well, now we can try as best as we can to do that. Right now I'm going to get into a little bit more of the technical explanation as to how it works. So if you want to check your phones, go ahead if you're not interested in this. But I'm just kidding. I think it's pretty interesting. So anyway, this is the process. So someone comes up with a bright idea. Wouldn't it be great if we had a way to just instantly provision sandbox courses in Canvas? So I think that sounds like a pretty good idea. It'd probably save some time. And so this is the process that you would follow as well. If you come up with a great idea, which is what we're looking for here. We ask Connor if it can be done. And he's pretty good. So usually the answer is yes, it can be done. And pretty much what he does almost immediately, it's like he gathers the requirements for the project. What would you like to see it do? He builds a web form that will query the Canvas API or the Canvas data instance. I'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, he builds out kind of like that web form that I just showed you, those very basic single-page websites that query data. And then the Wolf gathers data from Canvas in two different ways, either through the API, which is the way basically that applications kind of talk to each other over the internet. And Connor explained it to me more as kind of like, how you go into your web browser, you go to a website, you get this information. The Wolf kind of does this almost like invisibly, but still over the same, internet protocol. It goes in and it queries data from Canvas, except instead of displaying that data via the browser, it just pulls it right into the Wolf app. And lots of web applications have APIs that are out there that's open for other applications to grab information. Canvas is very open with that as far as exposing those API endpoints to authorized users. I don't know how big the documentation is huge. So usually one of the first steps that Connor is, okay, let me look at the API documentation. I'm going to find all these various pathways to get that specific information that I need from Canvas. And then what happens is you make a web request.
If you go to Google and just type in Canvas API, it should be the first result, and it's just a documentation for everything that's available there.
So there's,
I just think it's really important to point out that just because you have access to the API documentation doesn't mean you have access to anything in Canvas.
That's
You
correct.
have authorization to do
Yes.
so. So you have to have an account and you have to have some higher level credentials.
Right.
So,
Which you can generate API to.
yeah.
The long story short is the APIs are public,
Mhm.
but your ability to interact with them is limited to whatever credentials you've been assigned in Canvas. So
Right.
a student could actually talk to the APIs, but they could only have Canvas do the same things they could do as a student.
right.
So I suppose an enterprising student could write their own version of Canvas to deal with your proposal. They have exactly the same access and permissions as they have today. So.
There you go. That's-
Exactly. So yeah, it's basically user access. The Wolf is actually a user in Canvas that has kind of top level access because that's what the Wolf needs, and it grabs that via the API. The other area that where the Wolf can grab information is through hosted data. That's something that's very, very recent. Canvas has basically opened up access to all of the data in Canvas, like all user interactions, all user activity, things like that. Brendan, who just got hired, is going to be working closely with this because he's our new data manager. Is that the title? Yeah. But this is basically a way that you can go in and query pretty much everything. The difference between these two sources of data is that hosted data is a lot faster. So if you have a connection to that, you can pull that information really quick. API is a lot slower, but the API is more flexible because you can grab that data and then modify that data. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, making sure that he's keeping me on task. But yeah, the hosted data has a lot of stuff. It's really fast. You can grab that stuff really quickly, but it's not as flexible as the API. So that we have these two things, two data sources that we build out for the app. Is there anything you want to add about the hosted versus?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the hosted data is basically giving me direct access to the database. Again, it requires authentication and it's all encrypted, so it's secure. But that's as opposed to the API, which is getting the data through web requests. So that's really the main difference between them. It's the same data.
So, and then we have obviously add the authentication that we've been talking about before, based on the Canvas role. We're actually not storing any of this data like on our own database here. It's basically all the data is still housed within Canvas or within the Canvas data. We're not spinning up extra databases. We don't have extra like security vulnerabilities because of this. It's basically just all tied in with the security that we have built right into Canvas. We don't have to set up a separate authentication program. We can just use the existing Canvas authentication for users to go in and build those apps. So that's kind of like the beginning to end process of there. Kind of simplified a little bit, but so we're wondering what's next for the Wolf. All right, we've already got a good start. Within like the first 4 weeks that Connor was here, we already rolled out about 3 apps, at least into the development environment, maybe not into production, but it's really high speed. So we're looking for lots of ideas. So we're starting a wolf pack, and this could be our wolf pack could be members of the CU Denver community, but we're also looking a little bit further. We want to collaborate with developers at other universities, spread the word at conferences. And I think it's a very cool idea, and we don't want to just keep it to ourselves. We want to open it up and invite other people to collaborate, build their own wolf apps, steal our wolf apps if they want to use it for their own universities. So we have it publicly out on a GitHub repository right now. So you can go in there and check out the code. Obviously, nothing in there is we don't have any proprietary or FERPA sensitive information on there. But Connor's put up all of his code for his projects on this repository, and it's publicly available. And people can copy the code and do it their own way. I guess it's the whole nature of this too is that okay, if you're programming in one language, like Connor programs in Ruby, uses a framework called Sinatra, there could be other programmers who are in different languages and they want to build their own wolf apps. We can kind of we can add that to the wolf pack as well. It's not dependent on programming in one specific language. You can still create these small scale applications or pseudo microservices to still interact with Canvas, use the API and all that kind of stuff. So code's available, and so this is the part where I open it up and I say, what ideas do you have for the wolf? The best idea we hear today is going to make you an honorary member of the wolf pack. You'll get one of these. Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know if you can do it on time to figure it out. So I'm interested.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have an issue on Canvas where the way I do extra credit, Canvas can't deal with.
Uh-huh.
So I'm wondering if there's a way that you can write an app to, instead of, because basically what Canvas does is it just drops the lowest grade.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do instead is I add all the grades together and take it out of a smaller number than the total.
Okay.
And Canvas can't do that. So I have to
Interesting.
manually.
So you're basically manipulating your own gradebook. You're doing that manually and entering it in.
Yeah. And the students are really frustrated because they can't see their real grade.
Mhm.
And it's better for them because instead of taking 5 quizzes and dropping one, they take all 5, get all the grades for all 5, and just have it out of the points for 4.
Ah, okay.
But Canvas says, no,
Yeah.
I'm just going to drop the lowest.
Yeah, that's part of the API is it can manipulate the gradebook. So
So that's my
as
idea.
long as you tell me
Write it down.
how it works, then
Okay, I
it should
can
be
say that.
possible.
There's one idea. Yes.
What you do with physics
Mhm.
between Metro and UCD, the library is trying to do between 3 different schools for every single course that each 3 schools will offer.
Ah.
So when we build content for a professor, maybe it's a professor in the business school and we build something for them to put in their course shell. Well, then a business professor in Metro would like something similar,
Mhm.
and then someone at D2L would like something similar. And we have to modify each.
Well, so they're using 3 different learning management systems,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And it would be really nice to build it once
Yeah.
and then have a translator that can move it so it can be used in each of the 3 different LMSs.
It's intense. That kind of
That's
built the
interesting.
same course 4 times because the 3 LMSs and then ours. Like,
Yeah.
So you want to basically find a way to make something that originates in Canvas kind of like talk to all 3 LMSs. That's interesting. I don't know if we can.
I probably don't have access to the other LMSs
Right.
for the other schools, but if they have a standardized, like some kind of upload format, what I could do is take the data from Canvas and make it so that it can be uploaded to those other LMSs, something like that, maybe.
think D2L and Blackboard, is that what? Blackboard both use the same common course export format as Canvas does. So you should be able to do an export out of Canvas and upload that to any of those LMSs. And it should keep most of the content.
That's an interesting thing. And also one of the other steps that I didn't mention in here is we check to make sure that Canvas doesn't already do that. And also the other thing too is like the reason for like the quick cycle too is like, okay, well, if we want this feature, we don't want to just put it through the whole like feature request process in Canvas, because that could take, however long. If we want it and it's not there, we want it now, let's go ahead and roll it through. Whereas as opposed to like the old development cycle, traditional development cycles, like, oh, well, you have to vet this for like 6 months. And then when 6 months rolls around, maybe Canvas already rolled out that in part of their core functionality. So, yes.
One thing I sit now doing drudge work is through many cycles of copying courses from fall to spring to summer to fall. The files structure has just gotten crazy because old files they don't go away. I keep adding new and new.
Oh, yeah.
So to at least get a list and maybe a check mark, delete. Now, I wouldn't want everything deleted, but if something's linked in the course, then we don't want to do it, but to notify me is this file isn't being utilized in your course anymore. Do you want to keep it or do you want to get rid of it?
Oh, so kind of like a last access for the, when is this document last accessed within this course, and then filter it like that, or?
No, I mean, so fall I had, cases and I had readings and when I course copied, they all copied.
Mm-hmm.
And now I added new ones, but all the old ones are still there.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be access, it would be, is it linked within the course content?
Is it actually deployed? So it checks to see if items
And
and
then-
files are actually out in modules or pages or anything.
Yeah. Because it's taking me, because then I can't remember, did I refer to this or didn't I?
I'm actually literally just going through the same thing, and I can't remember. I'm like, do I delete it? But then what if it's somewhere and it's a broken link? Yeah.
Can you pull link files? Is there a way to do that?
So interesting enough, Canvas just added a link validator in your courses, and so I did it last night, and it does pull files as well as links to outside sources.
I still have the manual.
But no, you don't. It tells you if the link is broken or correct or works.
But that doesn't tell you
She wants
if
to go
there's,
through the files to say is this file linked. Although you might be able to square that up.
I mean, I know when I copy, you get the list of, there's these problems because the
Right.
links aren't there. This is, I have case XYZ, and now I'm using case ABC. Well, I upload ABC, but XYZ is still there. It's not being utilized, but it just makes my files. And if you've tried to do anything with files, you can scroll on the teeny little window. So I would like to clean it up.
I think I can talk to these guys about it.
Yeah. It's a great so far. It's going to be having a tough time getting a winner. Yes.
So I run a course in the summer where probably the majority are auditing the course. We've got a couple grad students that sign up, and then I've got to send in, I guess to you guys, add these students to the course because I just want them to have access to campus. Is there a way to make an app for that, or
Sure. Just an ad hoc enrollment type of app.
ad hoc enrollment app? So we just throw a bunch. What do we need, like the student number ID or whatever?
Yeah, I think that kind of. What's that?
Yeah,
For auditors?
Yeah.
It's all that high centers on policy because you're not supposed to have anybody in your class. I mean, yeah, but then depending which school or college you're in, which registrar you work with, then they just sort of
Right. Yeah,
it's be difficult here. It's kind of like it's a registrar policy, so we have to be careful we don't write a wolf app that just entirely bypasses.
Right.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, certain schools have different policies. Like my former institution was pretty liberal about just giving instructors the ability to add. If they're a current student, then go ahead and just add them. Other schools like CU are a little more locked down. So yeah, when that comes up against policy, sometimes that's.
So your course coordinator can ad hoc outgoing devices, because they have permission from the registrar's office to do so. We do not.
Course coordinator.
Yep.
And,
What school are you with?
yeah,
I'm over in the graduate school, so over.
Yeah,
Neuroscience graduate program.
all that
So
probably
then
goes
it's
through
all
Wayne,
that.
so,
Oh,
yeah,
so,
probably. So Wayne probably just had.
I just sent like help email to somebody. Yeah, it was easy, but
Yeah.
it seemed like you're in Canvas, you should be able to just add some student numbers and add some students too.
Yeah.
I agree.
Let me put it this way, it's a great idea to put a policy topic on that one.
Right.
I have a similar type of issue in that at the College of Nursing, we have a lot of contract faculty that are only in there for like a semester to maybe run herd on students in clinical agencies or something like that. But with the new and improved employment software, I can't get my teachers who are going to help me teach into Canvas to see what the course is about. And they probably won't even have a UCD access number, et cetera, until we're into the semester.
Right.
I need to be able to put people into Canvas with their non-UCD emails so they can teach.
Unfortunately, I think that's another policy thing too.
but
Yeah.
you can get a sponsored user account like that,
Really?
yes. And then, if they have a sponsored user account, they have a UCD email, and then your course coordinator can add them with that.
Okay, well, I guess the nomenclature, course coordinator, I'm the course coordinator.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not the course coordinator for the college, but I am my courses coordinator, okay? Because it's a very big,
Right.
humongous course. So and I don't have that access. I don't have that ability. So,
You should. To add users, you absolutely should.
so who do I contact to get an instant email?
So it's not instant, but it's faster than the HR process.
This is like dead.
I mean, it's just
It's called a sponsored user account.
sponsored user account.
So in order for me to find it, I googled University of Colorado sponsored user, and I got a form, and I filled it out, and within like 24 hours, my person had an email, and then I could do that. But I think they also have to. Do they have to have a POI to also be in Canvas?
I'm not sure about that. It might.
This is, I think, part of the
Maybe.
problem.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, and so, the POI is what's really slow with the
It's
new
really
approved
slow,
system,
right.
Okay, so,
Let's chat because I might be able to help you with we might talk to the guys upstairs while you're here and see if we can figure out a solution.
but we're
Because
talking
the
about,
HR process, you're
Yeah.
right, it's just been,
we're talking about 30 or 40
Right,
individuals,
right.
okay?
Okay.
It's not like a one person in one
Right.
course problem.
Right.
It's rampant.
okay. Yeah, and this semester it's really this semester, right? We need a stopgap for this semester because hopefully they'll have this figured out and it'll be a little bit quicker, correct?
It's always been slow, but now it's gotten slower.
Right.
Yep.
But
My guy was here a week before he had my number, so.
Well, we have some people almost a month. Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
Okay,
like,
well, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
but they can't learn what they have to do on the first day of the month.
Okay, yeah, let's chat.
All very interesting stuff. So it looks like we probably have to wrap up a little bit, but if you have I could probably answer maybe a couple other questions if you have them.
I have one
Yes.
similar to this lady's. It's about the grade book. I
Yeah.
teach a class with graduate students and undergrads,
Mhm.
and I give the graduates an extra assignment or two.
Mhm.
And so I have the grade book set up with scoring for all the undergraduate assignments, but the graduates can't see their running score.
Okay, because they have extra assignments.
So that's your setup.
Well, yeah, you can set that up as on the assignment level with. Yeah, you can use sections, or you can use other, or when you're creating assignments, you can assign it to particular students as well, and it'll
So
still be.
I set the graduates as a separate group and then put all their assignments in that group.
You can do groups or sections, or just with assignments. You can assign certain
Just
to
added that
assignments to
Regardless,
individuals.
that can be solved directly.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, we'll set you up with that. Yes.
I have another one. I don't know if it's an app or what it is, but I oversee a bunch of labs, and I've got like 700 students a semester. And every time a student submits a lab and they happen to say, here's my lab, everyone gets an email. So all the teachers and me and everything. So we take points away. We say, don't submit comments through Canvas, and we say, if you do, we'll take points away. There's got to be an easier way because I don't check my Canvas email ever. Because
So they're submitting it via conversations instead of through an assignment?
No, they submit it through the assignment, but then they attach a comment.
Yeah.
And
Oh, and so you
we
have your
to
notifications
tell
set
every
to-
student every semester, don't add comments, don't add comments. So there's got to be some way to make the comments like, I don't know. I mean, there's something because
Well,
Might be
I was gonna say, I have the opposite problem in that whatever settings I set up, I don't get notified. So I have students who post, why did I get a 7 on this assignment? And I never see it in the grade book unless I happen to be paging through old things. And then a couple weeks later I get an angry, why didn't you ever reply to my question? Like, what question?
right.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing there may be some settings thing.
Probably within the notification settings
Well,
in
yeah, we
Canvas.
check that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've asked
Yeah.
Canvas and
So so notifications based on comments turn off or on.
yeah, that's exactly a
Yeah,
little button
yeah.
that says send the comment, don't send the comment to just my TA, send the comment to everyone on the planet, send the comment to,
So I think the question, Connor, is could you set up a submission form that's unique, say, to this course that didn't initiate the notifications for flow? I don't know.
That one I would probably have to look into it and see. That's kind of dependent on what Canvas is capable of exposing to me. So
okay.
One more thing I want to add to everyone, when you think about this wolf stuff, I mean, the easy way to think about this is the way David Lyons used to talk about it. Is it's like if you're doing something that's very repetitive and a machine can do it, that's what the wolf is, right?
Yep.
I mean, if it uses your brain power, I'm sorry, we can't write software that's smarter than you can anytime soon.
You can't write something that'll grade essay exams or term papers for you.
About whether or not this or that or the other should happen, but absolutely, if you're just finding that I'm just sitting there clerically doing this task over and over again, that's the sort of stuff that, like that syllabus thing. I mean, you can go into Canvas as an administrator and click on each course and export the syllabus. Oh my gosh, what a nightmare! Now it can just be done, instantaneously. We have another little app we're going to do that, like, reinstantiates a student temporarily so that you can pull their records, for financial aid stuff. This is the sort of stuff that can be done manually. You can imagine how it would be done. It's just quicker, just push a button. So when you notice in your own workflow, like, this is taking too long and Canvas is making it hard on me, maybe that's the time to go like, hey, maybe the wolf can fix this.
Great, I think we're at the end here. Since you had 2 ideas,
So.
welcome to the wolf pack.